All right. For this live code, we are going to create like a name generator. So I have up here like an example so that we can kind of get an idea. You could do, some name generator to generate, a rapper name that you might use, a fantasy game name that you might use. In this case, I have different pirate groups or some type of bandit group. And so I want you guys to kind of see like things that we're kind of looking for, because we already have the tools that we need to be able to do a lot of this. We just need to put it together. Okay, so looking at these, all of them start with the word the. So that could be something that's, part of like a string literal. I'm building this in. Those are things that are not going to change. But then we have serpent, West Sea, sanguine, golden tooth, pillagers, raiders, corsairs, skull, nautical, all of those. It's like that's a describing word that could be something different. And then we end up having some where I'll say like of the fog, of the tempest, of the monster shark. So the of the could be something that's not changing. So I'm thinking of having like where we can create a program. We have some type of text input. We generate two lists of like random things, and we have something like the person will type their name in. So we give them some instructions. They type their name in. So say they type Bob, and we say Bob, the serpent of the fog, and we generate some random fantasy name or something like that, and you guys kind of build what you're going to do for it. But this would be a simple program for us to play around with, getting the input from the users putting some type of text input, and we're still using arrays to be able to do this. Okay, so let's kind of think in terms of how I'm going to develop mine. Now, yours guys could be a little bit different, but we are going to end up needing to have two arrays. So we're going to have two arrays or lists that we can use to build the different phrases. Let's see, 5 things describing things each. Okay. And one might be, an adjective. One list might be an adjective list. And the other will be a location. Okay. So that's something that we're going to need. What else are we going to need? We're going to need to have some type of text input. Let me make that bigger. We're going to need to have some type of text input, and we need to be able to actually get this text input. So we're going to have that, and probably a button so that when they are done typing it, they could press the button to generate the name. Okay, text input to capture the user's name, a button to generate the name, and then we want a set of instructions. Okay, so that's kind of where we are. Let's go ahead and build that so that we'll have something like this. Now, as you guys are building this, the only requirement that I'm saying is you need to have two arrays. You need to be able to take text input. We're going to end up generating this as a string literal. So I would play around with actually having your own kind of name generator. It does not need to be exactly like mine. Okay, so let's start creating some stuff. So describing, or how about just adjective list, and we need a location list. We're going to need to have the generated name, instructions, and we need button. Okay, so we've already done stuff with the lists. I'm going to make it an explicit list, so I'm just not going to make it where I can add stuff in there. I'm just going to put them in the list as I create it. So before we were doing an empty list and we were pushing stuff onto it. Now we're going to just type the stuff in directly, and then we can just have them as a random thing for it. So see, the blank of the blank. So this part would be the first one. The great, all powerful. Now I got to think of when I'm doing this, just the start and the end should not have commas or spaces, excuse me, because when we build a string literal, we'll make sure that has that. Great, all powerful, weeping. I'm just doing a bunch of different adjective type phrases. Smelly. Let's see. Golden. Okay. 2, 3, 4. There we go. All right, so there's one list. Now let's do the next list, location list. Niles. Suburbs. Blue Sea. Guild. 1, 2, 3, 4, and how about okay, so we have two lists. We have a generated name that should be emptied. So we're gonna give it an empty set of quotes so we don't see anything. Okay, our instructions. Your guys' instructions is probably going to be different. Write your name and I will generate your new title. Something to that effect. We need a button. Create button. We'll call it generate. Now we're going to need to position it, but for right now we can just link it up. Mouse pressed. Generate name. Okay, so that's most of what we would need. Now we can, I'm probably going to do mine more as like black because I feel like doing black today. Let's generate our instructions and then, we need a text input, don't we? Button, T input. Let's add that in there. T input equals create input. I don't need anything in there. Okay, so we want to generate the instructions. So text, I think we're going to want to change the fill to white, fill to 55, text size 20. And then we'll get our instructions, then we can kind of test. All right, so I want this to be, my instructions to be at the top. I do want to, so it's not touching the edge. So how about the instructions, and then we'll do it at 10, 10. I want it to be 380 wide, and so that it will wrap. Mouse pressed is not defined. I don't have that generate name yet. Function generate name. There we go. What do we got? Okay, I'm making an issue with creating a button. We're going to go ahead and look it up. DOM, create button, mouse pressed. What did I do wrong? Oh, yeah, because I'm not doing this. That was silly. There we go. So that should work fine. Okay. It's going to the next one. Now we want to put our text input right there. So now let's position our text, and then we can position our button. So as long as I'm doing the position for the button after I'm doing the text, then it should be fine. So t input dot position. I want to give it a position. Let's say I want to do 100. Nope. Let's do 20, and then we'll go 100 down. See where that puts us. That's actually pretty good. Now I want to do my button position. Button dot position, and I want this to tack on to the very end of the text input. So we'll do t input dot x plus t input dot width, and then t input dot y. Let's rerun. That looks pretty good. Now when I push this, I should do something. Okay, now remember when we are doing the text input, let's double check on that. Create input. Okay, when we type something, we're looking for this right here, this dot value. Dot value is what's going to be holding the text. Okay, so we only really want to do that though once they're typing that. So that is part of that generated name. We want to pull that, but we only need to pull it after they're clicking the button. Okay, so the generated name is going to be down here. Let's go ahead and write that. Text generated name. And since it's empty, it's not going to show up. But well, let's look at 10, 20, and maybe 300. And I don't want it to be larger than 380 to go off the page. I'm probably also going to make the text size bigger on this. Text size, let's do 32. Okay, so now when I run this, see, I don't see anything. But here is where I want to generate it. So when we press this button, I want to pull from each one of those arrays. So I could create some temporary variables to build this out. I could say let adjective is going to be a random from that adjective list. I could say let place to be a random from that location list. This is all stuff that we've done before. We're just location list. We just need to build this out. So Now this is where I'm thinking of what I want to say. So generated name is going to be, and we're doing a string literal, okay? So I can say I need the name of that text input that they have, or somewhere in there. So I'm going to say t input dot value. That is going to be, let's say, comma, the $sign adjective. Anytime that I need to replace with a variable, that's when I got to put it the $sign and the code blocks of the $sign place. Okay, so now when I press this, it's going to take whatever's here, that's going to get inputted in this, plus these random generation from the list. Redbeard. Generate. Now I need to spell it right. That would help. Redbeard. Check it out, Redbeard, the all-powerful of the high school. Generate again, Redbeard, the great of the high school. So we can go through this and see what will work. Now, I think because I'm using an adjective, I need to actually do something with the adjective, like the all-powerful wizard, the great sage. So let's add really quick, because now that we got the idea, let's add, how about a profession. And my profession is going to be something like, and I should actually call it profession list or professions, something to let me know that I'm using a list. Profession list is, how about sage, wizard, pirate, I don't know, teacher, 1, 2, 3, 4, one more, snoozer, old man. Yeah, how about we do that? Okay, so we got a profession list. Now we can do this. We can create a new profession here. Goes random profession list. The blank. Okay, so now here we have, notice that I'm specifically putting my spaces in. Profession. Okay, now let's try it again. Redbeard. Redbeard, the weeping teacher of the high school. Nice. Okay, and that's kind of going down because we have a larger size, so maybe I might do 200. Redbeard, the great pirate of the Niles, the golden teacher of the guild, the all-powerful teacher of the high school, the weeping pirate of the blue sea. So we are generating names. So I encourage you guys to play around with this. You could do this in a lot of kind of funny, silly ways, and you get a lot more randomization if you guys have a lot more than just 5. All right, but this is a way that we can use the input from what people put with being able to have more stuff. You could take this and extend this out and actually do like a Mad Lib where you could have a whole bunch of these text inputs, say for a noun, a number, a describing word, and you could build those actually into a Mad Lib and generate a whole Mad Lib or a whole story based off of all the little inputs that they gave you, looking for all of that stuff, and then build it in to an actual story doing something like this. Okay, so I encourage you to play around with that. I'm interested to see what type of names you guys come up with or what type of Mad Libs you guys come up with. All right, good luck. Have fun.